It's yeah, it's 12:30. Oh, past midnight. I'm not tired. I was thinking about editing some photos, and I thought, why not record the whole thing? And maybe you will learn a thing or two, or maybe you see some things that you can give me some tips and tricks to do better. So I have three images here, and I do like to work with stacks in Lightroom because I think if you have all your images like this, I think it's way too messy, and I can't get I can't get a grip of which one I worked on and to select it and such. So I do use stacks. And the good thing about stacks is that you can easily expand it, open the stack by pressing the letter S. It opens it. If you press S again, it closes it. And if you hold Shift and press on this little fella here with a number, it opens it and selects them all. Isn't that great? That's good. Because in that case, I can just scroll through using the arrow keys, and it will not accidentally select another one or so. So it just works with these six that are selected. So, and when I'm done, I'm just press the letter S again and go to the next one and do the same thing. I do shoot um, uh, ambient with flash, so I do almost always shoot three ambient frames, and then I would shoot a flash from behind the camera, one from the right, one from the left, and in this case, I will moving more towards the window to get some more um, uh, window light to mimic with some window lights with the shadows and with the texture. And then we also have an adjoining room, which I'll also pop a flash in or two if it's necessary, but only one this time. Press the letter G to go back to grid view, S to close that. And then we have this little fella here. Same thing, three ambience from behind the camera, right, left. G to go back to grid, S to close. The good thing about stacks as well is that you can just select it, edit in, open as layers in Photoshop, or you can do what I do. I have a shortcut, which is in my case, it's Command Option Shift minus to open the layers in Photoshop. Open the layer, I open the images as layers in Photoshop. English is a tough language sometimes. So saves you time. If you have prepared your files like these, you can just click it, Command Shift Option minus, go to the next one, do the same thing, go to the next one, do the same thing. You can do that in quite, if you have if you do it fast, you can open lots of images at once, and you can go grab a coffee or take a nap or whatever you want to do. So I usually do around, yeah, maybe like 10 or 12, because sometimes the computer is acting up if there's too many processes at once. So yeah, maybe I will show you a little more manually on the first one, and then I will just use the actions on the other ones, so you can see how fast and efficient the actions are. I will use some actions in this as well, but yeah, they're not that difficult to do manually, but yeah. Uh, the thing I do, I have an action that prepares the whole file for for further actions, but in this case, I will blend the ambient files to one using LUMENZIA, and before I do that, I will try to align it. The other action, it does that automatically, but not in this case. And I have two actions for that. I have the reverse layers, the auto align layers, which is the Photoshop way. I use LUMENZIA, so I have the pre-blend, this little fella right here, which is a way to prepare the files. You can sort it if you want to. I will not sort it. You can put the dark light on top or layer name. The thing I'm most interested in is the align and crop transparent edges. It's a LUMENZIA specific. You can't do that in Photoshop, but in LUMENZIA, it automatically deletes the transparency grid that you can get if there's some misalignment in the image. That's pretty good as well. You can check alignment. It actually puts them in difference mode, the blending mode difference to if you want to manually adjust. You can add black layer masks. I'm not going to do that now. You can also lock the layers, which prevents you from like painting on the wrong painting on the layer instead of the mask or such. But the only thing I'm interested in here is the align. So I will blend the layers. That's done. What I do next, I will use an action for um, to blend the ambient, which uses LUMENZIA as well. I will show you a little bit about it. I will press it first. But actually, I have the base, which is this one, and I have the lighter one, and it creates a luminosity mask for the darkest pixels in the image, and puts that in on a mask, which ups the shadows a bit. I don't know if you can see it. It's not too much. Yeah, you can see the shadows gets a little bit brighter, softens the image, and also the same thing with the lightest picture in the frame. It creates a mask that looks like this. Then I feather that, and if I disable that, you can see brings in some more of the window view. That's the ambient file. And the next thing I do is I reverse it. You can do this in different ways as well. You can do it manually, like by dragging. Why would you? When there's faster ways to do it. You can select all. You can go to Layer, Arrange, Reverse. Or you can just create an action that reverses the layer. And then you can do this all night long if you want to. So, yeah, there you go. So, the thing about these two are um, I have one where I'm shooting with a flash to the right from the left to light up this little fella here and create some shadows here behind the sofa. And the same thing with this one, is from the right, illuminating the left part of the frame. So what I usually do is I create a layer mask and I take the gradient tool with a black, oh, wrong way. There you go, like that. There you go. In this case, I'm standing pretty close in the frame because I was trying to mimic the window light from because it's three large windows. So instead of standing here, I would like some more light from some more directional light from the windows. What I can do then is instead of the gradient tool, I usually do like 50% gray. And if I press Shift Backspace, get the fill dialog, and you can see foreground, background, another color that you choose, a pattern, blah blah blah, black, white, and this one 50% gray, which lets 50% from this layer and 50% from this layer. What I do then is I will take the brush. In this case, I will use the white brush to paint myself out. Um, yeah, paint myself out from the underlying layer actually. Then I will switch to black to paint myself out from this from the top layer. As you can see, you get some more instead of um, this flat image, you get some more texture, some more definition, and such. And then I will just can do like this. I will duplicate that, bring that on top, put a black layer mask. I will also duplicate it once again, put that one in darken mode. So the thing that does is I can use this to just paint in the darker pixels. Darker pixels. Pixels is also a hard word to say in English sometimes. Or I can use the flash in normal mode with kind of low flow. Okay, what's up? Yeah, to paint in some of that layer as well. The good thing about this is that you can easily get rid of some shadows that you don't want to be there. Like this shadows here, there's like shadow here. Actually, it could be a shadow from the window. Let's see what the ambient thinks. Yeah, the shadow is there, but not as prominent. So I will by reducing that a bit. Mm, was not much of a window view to talk about in this day. It was oh yeah, here's another thing. If when you combine the layers, it, in this case, you can easily brush out the reflection that was made by one of the side flashes here. So there you go. Maybe some more on the table. The TV, yeah, look at that. Almost all black. And if I just disable the mask on the darken layer, you can see it only darkens it. I don't think that looks good, so I would not use it this time. But this is a good way to reduce reflections and the and the hotspots and so on. You can do it by with these layers as well, but yeah, flexibility. And what I do then is I will group the flashes. We'll call it flashes. I will put it on top, on the bottom, sorry. So now I have the ambient on top and the flashes on the bottom. And then I will use an action for this and I will show you what that does. I have a keyboard shortcut assigned, which is Command F4. What that does, here you have my flashes with actually I put a hue saturation layer on top of that if I just want to like up um, the saturation or reduce the saturation. Sometimes I think the orange color is way too prominent or so I'd like to reduce the saturation a bit. And the next one is the first ambient file, which is here. And then as you can see, this is what LUMENZIA created for us. And then I have a layer mask. I put that in a group, and then I assign a layer mask that protects the highlights. I actually just selects the highlights, but in the action I disable it because I like how it looks, or most of the time, because then sending more of the ambient light in. But you can do it like this as well. If you enable that mask, you can see it gets uh, protects the highlights from the ambient. But you can do it like this as well. select it and you reduce the density, you can let more of that in. It's like graying it out. That's another cool trick. Use the density slider to fine tune. And then I have a curves layer, which is just to uh, brighten the image or maybe darken the image, the ambient layer that is, and or maybe just put some contrast. And then I have this in a group that is with a 50% gray, and that's the same thing as many people do. You put the yeah, the ambient layer in luminosity mode, and you reduce it to 50%. But instead of reducing it to the opacity to 50%, I have it at 100, and I use a layer mask with 50% gray, and that's exactly the same thing. So the upside to this is that you can use the brush tool to paint in more or less using the white and the black. So if I put paint with white, it lets more of the ambient through. If I paint with black, it reduces it. In this case, I don't want too much reflection in the TV. You can do it like this as well, on the window, or you can paint in more of the window. Actually, now uh, the windows are protected by this layer. So if I disable that, then paint on the window with white, or it will let more of the ambient through, and vice versa. If I paint with black, darkens it. What I do next is I have a copy of the ambient layer, but not in luminosity mode, but in normal mode. So if I disable this mask, oh, maybe I have to enable the layer first. If I disable that mask, this is actually the ambient file as it is. So you can use this to, if you have some areas that you want to paint in that looks better in the natural mode without the flash. Maybe some of the colors, the orange color, maybe on the table here. Yeah, for example. And sometimes I also you like to put this one instead of in it's in pass through now. It's because it's in normal mode. But if I put this in yeah, look at that like this instead, in color mode, only the colors show through. So the luminosity is still the same, but now it's just a color. And then if you now you can yeah, maybe just paint on the oranges, which I think is a little too much and looks better in the ambient file without the flash. There you go. For after, for after. Ah, yeah. Maybe I will from the top. Yeah. And then I have just some backups. Another flash layer. This is a duplicate of this one in darken mode. What that does, darkens some of the highlights. Actually looks good on the table, I think. If you put on the nose, you can see, yeah, we'll use some on the table over here. Maybe some here to try to paint, yeah, the TV looks good. Not use that too often. You can also do, if you have to, if you let more ambient through, you can tame the ambient with this one as well. So it gives you lots of flexibility. And the last one is a color layer, the flash duplicate of the flashes as well in color mode. If it gets way too just a recovery as well. If I do like this, you can see that now I have the color from the ambient layer, and if I disable that mask, you get the full color from the from the flash layer. So just to give me some, yeah, you work your way up, and then you just like, yeah, fine tune it along the way. So what I do then, after that, when I think this looks good, I assign a Nick Color Effects Pro filter, which is yeah, I can't do that here. I have to do it like this. I will make a stamp visible layer by holding Command, Option, Shift, and E, and then I usually create a smart object on that layer with a filter, Nick Collection, Nick Color Effects. The plugin has a, of course. And then I will just find a preset that I like. I often use this one. Just get some more punch, some glow actually to soften the yeah to soften yeah some to soften the image a bit, some contrast and to soften it, and that's about it. I think I usually flatten the image um, and save this, and it automatically goes back to Lightroom. In this case, I will use Camera Raw instead, just to continue the process here in Photoshop. I will press Command Shift A to put up the Camera Raw filter. I actually just, it's as simple as putting the auto. I will press Command U uh, to see what auto gives us. Looks quite good actually. Yeah, I think that it's a little bit too saturated for my taste. The automatic setting in Lightroom and Camera Raw does that. I think it ups the vibrance and the saturation. I usually just remove that by holding Option and then Reset Color. And then I would just make some geometry adjustments to straighten the image. I will always look what auto and vertical and horizontal gives us uh, before if I don't like that, you can use the guided, just manually paint lines, straighten it. I'm using a Wacom tablet, so I think it's pretty tricky to get it right most times. So I often switch to the mouse in these cases, but I'll use the automatic ones for now. And then I press Command 6 in this case, and I go to the color grading. I think it's pretty cool. I like the results it gives. So you can separately manage the midtones, the shadows, and the highlights in another slider, not the one here in the lights. So I usually look if I want to lower or higher the midtones. I think I will lower it just so slightly. How about the shadows? Yeah, maybe some more punch in the contrast there. Just a tad more on the highlights to separate it and give some more contrast as well. There you go. Uh, Sometimes if I think there's some miscoloration, I'm using the just to use saturation layer. Can do it like this. I will select color range. You see, I have a shortcut for that. It's Command Shift R. And then I will just, here for instance, I think it had some orange cast on the back of the sofa. I will select these parts. I will use this little fella here, the handle, press there. You can see it selects the yellows. And I'll just reduce that. Find the difference. makes a lot of difference. I can see some here as well. Actually, if I'm careful, I can just paint white on the mask as well. And areas where I think needs to remove some jellos. There you go. Flatten that. Sometimes I've seen I do like Command Option Shift L to auto level. In this case, it does nothing. Auto contrast. It does nothing, which means I nail it perfectly for him. And then I just save it out for now. I use Web Sharp Pro, also a fantastic plugin from Greg Benz. And then I just press sharpen, which puts some sharpen on and exports it to a folder that I decided. So that one's done. Let's close that. I will not save it for now. So now I'll use my action instead, and this is going to get a lot faster, I think. I hope so. So I do have both these files are same. They are 3 ambient with flash files. I do have I use batch setup, like if you know the automate batch, and then you choose an action and it applies it to every image. And you can actually put an action that performs that action, that automatic batch actions, which is pretty cool. So in this case, I have three setup batch. It's 3 files, 3 ambient files. I also have one where I only use one, but in this case there are 3. So I will play that. And what that does, it's doing the same thing with the LUMENZIA, the blending of the ambient files. It puts them in a group. It also reverses and auto-align the images. And then it does the same thing on every other image as well. So there you go, it's done. Those two are prepared. So now I have the ambient on the bottom. I do have my flash from and the camera, the right, the left, and the adjoining room. So in this case, I have an action for lighten. So it's Command F3, and it lightens that. It puts that layer in screen mode. Sorry, and then it goes down to the next one. And in this case, I will just press the letter F2, which put a gradient on the top layer and reveals what's underneath. So if I remove that, that's the one. And if I take that, that's the one. So there you go. And the thing is, maybe I would like to paint some more of this file from the window, because that's, I think, is the main light I want in this image. And as you can see now, there's a reflection in the window. And in this case, I will press F3. It puts that two in a group. It puts the top layer, the adjoining room, and then I have the flash from behind the camera in normal mode and in darker mode. And I will just paint where I see fit, like over the window. You can remove the reflection, paint some of the pictures as well. Remove some of the shadows without revealing too much of the shadow that file creates. Remove some hotspots from the floor. This ugly shadow. Oh, there's 2 ugly shadows. I will remove that. Let's see what we can get away with. Uh, if you accidentally paint on, oh, I'm painting on that layer now. If you accidentally paint on the over this one, you can paint, use black to paint back that layer, or just if you want, you can put it on top. Maybe lower the opacity instead, and just yeah, there you go. I'm pretty pleased with that. So I will press F4, which sorts them with the ambient on top, and then flashes in the group behind that. Then I press Command F4 again, and it does the same thing. I do not want to see so much out from the window. So press another 3D view. See what this does. Yeah, way too saturated. I can brighten this maybe a bit. Maybe reduce the saturation from the flash layer. I think I am going to paint in some more of the painting here. We have some more hotspot out. I kind of like that hotspot there. About that shadow, miscoloration. Yeah, I use this in color mode. Let's see what that brings us. It reduces the orange as well. No, no, yeah, good. I pressed F9 to put the Nick Color Effects Pro filter on the smart object. If it's too much, I just reduce the opacity by clicking uh, number 7 for 70 in this case, 5 for 50, 0 for 100. And in this case, I usually just flatten and save to Lightroom. I will use Camera Raw in this instance as well. I usually go just for auto. I think that's bit too dark. I will remove the color. I will trim it. I will go to the color here. Just fine tweak some. Yeah, I think that looks good. Maybe just reduce the saturation a bit. It's quite yellow, but you get tricked by the curtain and the floor and the desk there. As you can see here, you have like a miscoloration from the floor, I think, on the door. I don't know what you call this, but so I have an action which is F5, which creates a hue saturation layer and takes the color range in a localized localized color cluster, the range of 24. Maybe I just and it puts the hue saturation, the monster down by 45, and I think the yellow, yeah, down by 30, and the lightness up by 5. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. As you can see. And there you go. Oh, yeah. Yes, I would say that. Was it? I won't save it to Lightroom this time. So, oh, and the last one. So we already did that. I will, instead of using the gradient now, because I'm more in the center and I'm more interested in this part of the frame, I will just use a white layer mask and paint myself out by using a black brush, a flow around 20. I'll just paint myself out and some of the, oh, I'm painting myself in as well. Come on. So, so what this layer does, it's actually works as a recovery to for this part of the image where I'm standing with the flash. So kind of seamless. Not 100%, but you can, if you want, see if you can remove some more areas or yeah, just go around. And then I press F3 to put them in a group and put the normal flash, the flash from behind the camera on top. Normal mode. I can paint even the ceiling a bit. Remove some, maybe some unwanted shadows. Here you can even that out as well. Hmm. Yeah. Darken I'm not going to use. Press F4 to sort it, and then press Command F4 to play the little action. I will not. Yeah, I don't want that window view. That's good. Maybe just tad up. I think. Do you need to paint? Yeah, I think that's good. And like, you know, take away some of the reflections in the flooring. Let's see the bed. Usually the furniture looks nice with more ambient. I also like to have pretty natural ceiling. Yeah, kind of good. You can see if I this is the ambient file. It's not that much discoloration over the window. So maybe I will put that in color mode. Just paint some of that in. Sometimes it's gets blue instead, but I think we're good now. Yeah. I will press S9 for new color fix. Am I happy with that? Maybe I reduce it a little, 70%. I will flatten that. I will maybe do some minor color adjustments. I think it's quite yellowy. See what I can do. So that's the default one. I think if I invert the mask, I can paint it where I want to with a white brush. And then I will use the camera raw filter, auto. Pretty good, I think. Just hitting it. I'm sure you can get the same effect with other, but I think it's kind of cool, a neat way to play with the mid highlights and shadows. And I think I'm done. Just say that. So that's about it, guys. It took some time, but the actions I am very glad that I do have some actions that works. It makes the work a lot faster. So yeah, take care. Bye.